How was your day? Hey there, welcome. We are Vi Sao the NHI, and welcome to our podcast series that often starts with why questions using the first principle thinking method. This approach offers you diverse perspectives on various life issues, fostering a truly authentic spirit. Join us for this episode. Is a fleeting companionship a gift or a punishment? In the midst of a battlefield riddled with bombs and bullets, a severely wounded soldier lay exhausted on the verge of life and death. A military doctor, without hesitation, risked his life to cross the barrage of bullets to bring the soldier to the aid station. For many hours, the doctor transfused blood, cared for, and fought for the soldier's life. When the soldier awoke, his wounds had been treated, but the doctor was gone. He had sacrificed his life in a subsequent bombing raid. The soldier never knew his benefactor's name, only remembered bright eyes amidst the smoke and fire, and a gentle command to live and witness the day of peace. For almost a decade, they endured years of treatment, waiting, and hoping. Finally, the couple welcomed their first child, a small miracle after so many years of infertility. Yet, no sooner had their happiness begun to blossom than they received the devastating news. The child suffered from an incurable illness. The child's first 2 years of life would also be their last. In the darkest days of his life, a young man grappling with depression decided to leave the city and seek a distant place. After fulfilling this final wish, he intended to end his tormented life. On a train journey lasting over 20 hours, he chanced to sit next to a strange girl. They talked incessantly, not about anything specific, but about all the things no one else seemed to want to hear. She didn't judge, she didn't offer advice, she just listened quietly. When the train stopped, they said goodbye without asking each other's names. But that very conversation pulled him back from the brink, leading him to decide to return and start anew. These two grew up together, from childhood friends to a blossoming love in adulthood. Both carried numerous emotional scars, torn apart by past wounds, but found healing warmth in each other. Just as they almost had complete happiness in their grasp, preparing to build a life together, a sudden accident tragically took the young man's life forever. This boy was once a rebellious, defiant student whom no one could sway until he met a special teacher. In less than a year, the teacher patiently guided him, quietly sowed the first seeds of faith and direction, and then transferred to another position. Time passed, and the student from that year gradually matured. One day, he decided to find his teacher to express his gratitude. But all he found was a photograph on a cold incense burner. His old communication notebook still held the last words his teacher had ever written. "You will grow up and live well. I believe in that." A quiet belief that illuminated an entire lifetime. Did these people ever meet again? Who? Those who once loved each other, those who were once a source of joy, those who ignited hope, sowed faith, and instilled a desire to live in each other. Have you ever wondered why these wonderful things ended so soon? And is this fleeting companionship a gift or a punishment you must bear? If it's a gift, why does it cause us such pain? If it's a punishment, why are we still grateful for having had it? In every lifetime, people face countless encounters. Some stay for a long time, some leave swiftly. Some happiness we wished would last an eternity fades prematurely. Meanwhile, some sorrows we desperately want to escape linger stubbornly throughout our entire lives. Some people enter our lives lightly, like a gentle breeze, yet leave a profound imprint on our hearts. They don't stay long, sometimes just a few months, a few weeks, or even just a chance meeting on life's path. Yet when they leave, the void they create is so vast that it leaves us haunted by a longing. It is too difficult to explain why, and perhaps that is why people believe in destiny and karma. Duyên, fate is a chance encounter. You and another person meet because you have a karmic connection, but whether you stay together long or not depends on your Nghiệp, karma. Those who treat us well, worry about us, and love us deeply indicate that they owed us a favor in some past life. And if we love and care for them deeply, yet they repeatedly cause us suffering, it is because we borrowed their kindness in the past, and in this life, when the time is right, we must repay that ancient debt. Destiny and karma are perhaps too vague for people to cling to explain everything. Yet, hidden behind this vague belief are even deeper implications. There's an ironic truth about human psychology. What we lose often becomes more beautiful in our memory. When a relationship hasn't had time to reveal all its darker sides, hasn't been worn down by everyday frictions, we tend to idealize it. The first big question to ask is, do people idealize short-lived relationships because they didn't have time to reveal their flaws or because they were truly pure? Is it precisely their brevity that makes an encounter precious? Does impermanence enhance the value of the present moment? Humans are inherently creatures geared towards connection. From birth, we seek eyes, smiles, and hands to hold ours. Each relationship is like a painting we patiently draw stroke by stroke, but when the painting is unfinished, it is suddenly swept away. This leaves us with a feeling of incompleteness. It is this incompleteness that gives rise to a psychological paradox. When a relationship ends too soon, it often becomes more beautiful in memory. When a relationship doesn't last long enough to reveal all its shadows, what we retain is often the most beautiful version of the other person: a gentle smile, an affectionate gaze, or words that touched the deepest part of our soul. Psychology calls this the initial idealization effect. The absence of long-term experience causes our memories to be tinted with romanticization. Brevity also means impermanence, a concept Buddhist philosophy has discussed for thousands of years. Eastern philosophy, especially Buddhism, regards impermanence as the essence of all things. When we clearly realize that everything has an end, we live each moment more fully. Everything that is born changes and passes away. Because of this, we cherish rare moments even more. When we know something is about to end, we tend to live intensely in every second. This finitude makes encounters precious. A fleeting companionship is like a season of flowers blooming brilliantly and then fading quickly. It is precisely because we know the flowers will fall that we gaze intently at each petal, breathing in its scent deeply. The human mind then automatically erases the gray hues and intensifies the vibrant colors. Thus, a short companionship is often preserved as a pure moment, seemingly untouched by reality. But is it truly pure, or merely the result of selective memory? The answer depends on each person. Furthermore, we ache in our hearts forever over short journeys with others because those who accompany us for a brief time often arrive when we need them most, when we are lost, when we need advice, or simply a hand to hold to get through a difficult period. But when they leave, the void they leave makes us feel abandoned by fate. Psychologically, this feeling is called double loss. We not only lose that person, but also lose a part of ourselves that was reflected in that relationship. This feeling of loss sometimes transforms into a form of unfinished grief. The one who remains is trapped between wanting to let go and being unable to. They wonder, if only, if we had met sooner, if things had been a little different. A flurry of what-ifs that sets the mind racing. In this regard, a fleeting companionship is like an unfulfilled promise, a song cut short, leaving silences that leave the listener uneasy. And for many, it truly is a form of psychological punishment. And then, in that emptiness, we find another belief, that somewhere in another lifetime, another cycle of life, we will meet them again. From a psychological perspective, this belief is a defense mechanism. Humans find it difficult to accept absolute loss because it evokes feelings of helplessness and meaninglessness. By imagining that the bond will continue in another life, we lessen the pain of the present. This is also a way of prolonging the story in our minds, helping us not to completely close the door on the relationship. However, if we only stop at this belief, perhaps we will still feel great pain when we think about those endings. If we knew companionship would be brief, would we still be willing to embark on it? Perhaps the answer lies in how we view gain and loss. In Eastern philosophy, Buddhism regards impermanence as the truth of life, that nothing lasts forever. Humans are naturally joyful when they gain what they desire and sorrowful when what they love slips from their grasp. But if we look deeply into the essence of all phenomena, we will see that gain and loss are not opposing, but two parallel sides. There is a thought-provoking excerpt that goes like this. Ancient sages used the 5-element cycle of creation and destruction to describe the transformation of the universe. Wood generates fire, but fire can also burn down plants. Water generates wood, but water can also wash away plants and rot roots. Metal generates water, but prolonged rain can also rust metal. Creation is never merely a reward. In every support, there is an inherent risk of entanglement. In every good thing we receive, there is always a hidden side. And if we are not mindful, that hidden side can become a force that pulls us down. When you gain one thing, you simultaneously exchange it for something else you may not yet realize you've lost. Gain a career, lose leisure. Gain love, lose a part of freedom. Gain knowledge, lose innocence. Laozi also said, "Misfortune is what fortune depends on, and fortune is what misfortune hides beneath." Meaning, within what is gained, what is lost is already hidden, and within what is lost, what is gained is already hidden. A brief encounter can be a gain if it opens us to new perceptions, deep emotions, but it is also a loss because we cannot hold on to it forever. Yet, if we didn't lose it, would we truly appreciate the value of its presence? In literature, the poet Tagore once wrote, "The butterfly counts not months but moments and has time enough." Fleeting companionship is the same. It doesn't need time to be profound, just enough to leave an imprint on the soul. When we accept a relationship, a journey, a moment, we simultaneously place ourselves before both happiness and separation. To gain are the warm memories, the times we laughed together, the peaceful days as if time stood still. To lose is the moment hands let go, the void in the heart when that laughter only echoes in memory. To have a beautiful memory, we must accept the possibility that it will become a bittersweet longing. To truly enjoy someone's presence, we must learn to say goodbye one day. So ultimately, does knowing its brevity make us hesitate? Perhaps it does, if we are so afraid of loss that we don't dare to gain anything. But perhaps not, if we believe that the value of a moment lies not in its duration, but in the completeness of its occurrence. There are companionships, though only a few short steps, that are enough to change the course of a lifetime. And then we know we gained far more than we lost, because loss only exists when we've never had something. What we've gained lives on as a part of us. Pain and happiness walk hand in hand. We are happy because we had it, but also sorrowful because we lost it. The most beautiful memory is one that cannot be revisited. That is the paradox every heart must accept when experiencing a fleeting relationship. The day I lost the person I loved most, I secretly told myself they had to go. They went to prepare good things for me in the next life, just as they did for me in this one. I believe that they and I will surely meet again in new forms, in new lives. I don't dwell on old debts of karma or love, I simply truly wish to meet them again. Perhaps the pain of losing a loved one is too great to bear, so people lean on such beliefs to continue living. But why not? Life is full of sorrows already. We must have at least one thing beautiful enough to strive to move forward to tomorrow. A hope, however vague, is enough to keep us going. So yes, I believe. I believe that those who love each other will meet again in this life or another. There are people we meet again and again, not because love was insufficient, but because the lesson is not yet complete. And sometimes life begins again just for us to walk a little further with that person one more time. Death is a cold, definitive end, but humans always want to place ellipses at the end of a line. So the story never truly ends, opening up further paths that are never blocked by what is called the separation of life and death. And I also entrust that belief to Between Births. This second book, and the debut novel by Vaisao the Nhi, is structured from 9 short stories, 9 fragments of life, 9 different existential moments. The characters enter each other's lives not to complete a long journey, but to exchange a piece of memory, an emotional imprint deep enough to follow them through those cycles of life and death. It is a journey of people navigating pain, loss, loneliness, doubts, and hopes, ultimately rediscovering a final spark of existence in that lifetime. In another birth, perhaps we won't remember each other's names, but our souls will still recognize each other through a gaze, a smile, or an inexplicable warmth. This is the silent belief flowing through every page of the book, that every encounter, long or short, is strung together by an invisible thread woven through lifetimes. Honestly, each birth is a unique pain, because I understand that no one lives without suffering, but humans are inherently adept at adapting. And so, each subsequent life will be more complete. People may not be healed immediately, but I believe something has quietly sowed a small seed of faith in their hearts, that we can start anew one more time. In any loss, something is always given back, a lesson, a growth, or a belief in future encounters. I wrote Between Births during days when I felt humans were fragile as glass, and the day the physical copy of this book arrived in my hands was also a few days before my grandmother passed away. I mentioned my grandmother more than twice in this book. I had hoped to show her the book in time, but she passed away before I could do so. I only managed to bring my baby to meet my great-grandmother a few days before, thankfully fulfilling a wish my grandmother once expressed. She would wait until Lynn had her baby. One person had lived an entire life, immersed herself in the rain of bombs and bullets, endured poverty and hardship, suffered loss and pain, and faced illnesses that ravaged her body. The other had just stepped into life, about to face crises, about to have a myriad of why questions, about to ache with confusion to find the answers to who am I, what do I want? The moment my baby came to greet her great-grandmother, I cried ceaselessly, tears falling. Can this be considered a fleeting companionship? I'm not sure, because both individuals lack the awareness and consciousness of each other's presence. But in an invisible belief, a connecting thread between these two individuals spans 100 years. It is all the simple and complex elements of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Something was ignited, something was passed on. And later, when my baby grows up, perhaps they will hear the story recounted or accidentally stumble upon this podcast. They will see that they belong to this family. They are loved and prayed for blessings. Between births doesn't promise healing, nor does it attempt to explain sorrow, nor does it carry a specific message. It doesn't teach you how to love or how to live. But in its quietness, I hope readers can find a soft voice telling them they are not alone and that I see them and the pain they carry. Perhaps you were never loved correctly, but that doesn't mean you are unlovable. Perhaps you never belonged anywhere, but that doesn't mean you will forever have no place to return to. And I also hope the book will plant a wish that when you read it, you will pause at a sentence or a paragraph and feel your heart soften a little. Just that much, perhaps, is already a new birth in itself. The book has been released nationwide. For now, goodbye and see you again.